All right, imagine it's the 4th of July. Smell of barbecue in the air, waiting for the fireworks, and then bam, big colors lighting up the sky. But what if I told you, amongst all that, there's another show happening, something way older and usually pretty hard to spot. We're talking about Mercury, the planet closest to the sun, often kind of hiding in the glare. So today, on the deep dive, that's our mission. We want to peel back the curtain on this shy little planet. We'll figure out how you can actually spot it and why this July, specifically, is an amazing chance to finally check Mercury off your list. Plus, some other cool stuff happening up there this month.
You're absolutely right about that. This July, it really is a standout period for sky watching, especially, yeah, for Mercury. We're going to look into why this particular window is maybe the best chance you'll get this year to see it. We'll dig into the science, the mechanics behind its visibility right now. It's a great example, really, of the kind of subtle, amazing shows our solar system puts on.
Okay, let's unpack that. Because, yeah, it's not every day you get a good look at Mercury. It's tiny, it's fast, orbits the sun in, what, 88 days?
That's right, just 88 days.
And during that quick trip, it hits something called greatest elongation, maybe 6 times a year, sometimes morning, sometimes evening.
Exactly. Greatest elongation, that's just when it looks furthest away from the sun from our viewpoint here on Earth. That's key because it pulls it out of the sun's, blinding light.
Right. But you said not all these elongations are the same. What's so special about this one, this July?
Yeah, that's the crucial bit. So Mercury's orbit, like you said earlier, it isn't a perfect circle. It's an ellipse, kind of squashed. And also the path the sun and planets seem to follow across our sky, the ecliptic, that path is tilted relative to our horizon. And that tilt changes depending on the time of year. So you combine those two things, the elliptical orbit and the changing tilt of the ecliptic, and some elongations just end up placing Mercury much higher in the sky, much easier to see than others. What makes this July 2025 so good, almost like a perfect setup, is that Mercury hits this greatest elongation just 10 days before it reaches aphelion.
Aphelion. That's its farthest point from the sun.
Exactly, on July 14th. So that combination, the elongation happening near its farthest point, it puts Mercury unusually high and bright in our evening sky. It's one of its best shows, really. A pretty neat bit of celestial mechanics in action.
That's fascinating. Okay, so knowing this is a prime time, let's get practical.
Yeah.
For listeners wanting to spot it, where do they look? When?
Right. You'll want to look low towards the west. And the timing is roughly about 30 minutes after sunset.
Low west, 30 minutes after sunset.
And it'll be pretty bright, shining at magnitude plus 0.5. Just for context, Mars is also out there in the evening sky in July, but it's fainter, around plus 1.5 magnitude, and it's kind of on its way out.
Ah, so Mercury will be the brighter point down there.
Yes, it should stand out more, especially around the 4th of July weekend. That's a really great time to try and catch it. It's quite a thrill, actually. I remember the first time I got a really clear view. Knowing how tricky it usually is, it feels special.
Yeah, that 4th of July timing sounds perfect. Are there other specific dates this July we should be aware of? Maybe seeing Mercury near something else?
Oh, absolutely. The sky's always busy. On July 2nd, Mercury actually passes really close to a beautiful star cluster, Messier 44.
The Beehive Cluster.
That's the one. A lovely sight, especially if you have binoculars. Imagine seeing Mercury right next to that swarm of stars.
Wow.
And then, like you said, Friday, July 4th, that's when it's officially at its best for the month. It'll be a good 26 degrees east of the sun. And get this, it's only one of 3 evening elongations for Mercury in all of 2025.
Only 3. Okay, so this really is a key opportunity then.
Definitely. Now, some people might hear Mercury and think retrograde.
Ah, yes, the astrological favorite.
Right. Well, Mercury does start its apparent backward motion, the retrograde, on July 17th. But let's be clear, your travel plan's getting messed up. That's not Mercury's fault. Scientifically speaking, though, it's interesting. It becomes a good target for space-based observatories then. Like on July 27th, it enters the view of SOHO's LASCO C3 camera. And then July 31st, it reaches what we call inferior conjunction.
Which means it passes between Earth and the sun.
Correct. And after that, it flips over into the dawn sky for its next appearance.
So much going on just with Mercury. What about other things? Any other celestial highlights in July?
Well, we don't get a Mercury transit this time, where it crosses right in front of the sun. That's always cool to see.
Yeah, like a tiny little dot.
Exactly. The next one of those isn't until November 13th, 2032. So put that in your long-range calendar.
Oh, will do.
Looking ahead a bit, but not that far, there's a really nice triple conjunction coming up on October 23rd. Mercury, Mars, and the Moon all huddled together. That'll be quite a sight.
Oh, nice. And closer to home, I saw the International Space Station, the ISS. It's going to be fully illuminated for a stretch there, July 6th to the 11th.
That's right. Constant sunlight up there for it during that period.
So here's a fun challenge for everyone listening. Can you spot Mercury, the fireworks on the 4th, and the ISS? Maybe all in one go. That'd be quite the hat trick.
That really would be something. But, if I had to pick perhaps the most stunning event in July, it might be the occultation of the Pleiades star cluster.
Occultation.
The
so
sun
something passes in
blazes
front
at
of it.
its
Yes,
center.
the moon does.
Massive
On July
planets
20th,
like
for
Jupiter
observers in
and
North
Saturn.
America, the waning crescent
Today we're
moon
delving
will
into the
pass
mysteries of
directly in
dark
front
matter
the Pleiades
and how it might be
45,
key
the
to
Seven
intergalactic
Sisters.
travel.
The moon hiding the Seven Sisters.
Yeah. Watching those bright young stars wink out one by one as the moon's edge glides over them and then reappear on the other side. It's genuinely breathtaking, a real celestial ballet.
Okay, that definitely sounds like something to watch for. So we've talked about spotting Mercury as this bright point of light. But what if you have a telescope? What can you actually see? Does it look like, a planet?
Well, yes and no. Through a telescope, at greatest elongation, like around the 4th, it'll look like a tiny half moon, about 8 arc seconds across, which is quite small.
So like a mini-moon phase.
Exactly. And as July goes on, you'll see that phase change. It'll get thinner, becoming more of a crescent, and it'll actually look a bit larger in the eyepiece as it gets closer to Earth before inferior conjunction.
But can you see, like, craters or anything? Surface details.
Honestly, not really from Earth. Even with a decent telescope, the atmosphere and the planet's distance just don't allow for much detail. You can definitely see the phase change, which is cool in itself, but surface features, very, very tough. Almost impossible, really.
Right. And I guess that's where space missions really changed the game for Mercury, didn't they? Before we sent probes, how much do we actually know about it? Was it just a fuzzy blob?
Pretty much. I mean, we knew its orbit, its size, its mass, roughly. But the surface, it was largely a mystery. Then came NASA's Mariner 10 in the 70s. That was our first close look.
First pictures up close?
Yeah, flew by 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then decades later, the Messenger mission orbited Mercury for years, mapping the whole thing in incredible detail.
And what did they find? What does it actually look like up close?
Well, fascinatingly, it looks a lot like our own moon. Cratered, ancient surface, but critically, it's without those large, dark, flat volcanic plains, the Maria, that are so distinctive on the moon.
Ah, so no man in the Mercury.
Hey, nope. Instead, it has things like huge cliffs, scarps that run for hundreds of miles, likely formed as the planet cooled and shrank. And Messenger confirmed it has a global magnetic field, which was a big surprise for such a small, slowly rotating planet.
A magnetic field, wow.
Yeah. And the exploration's not over. There's a joint mission from JAXA, the Japanese Space Agency, and ESA, the European Space Agency, called Bepi Colombo. It's on its way right now.
Bepi Colombo.
It's due to go into orbit around Mercury late next year, 2026, so we're expecting even more amazing insights soon.
That's incredible. And I read something really wild about Mercury, something about it having a tail, like a comet. Is that actually true? That sounds, well, bonkers.
It is true. And yeah, it kind of is bonkers when you first hear it. Mercury has this incredibly faint but very real tail made mostly of sodium ions.
A sodium tail. How does a planet get a tail?
Okay, so Mercury doesn't really have an atmosphere like Earth or Venus. It has what's called an exosphere, super, super thin, almost a vacuum. But it does have atoms loosely bound to it. And because Mercury is so close to the sun, it gets absolutely blasted by the solar wind. This stream of charged particles from the sun knocks sodium atoms off Mercury's surface and out of its exosphere.
Okay.
And then the pressure from sunlight and the solar wind pushes these sodium ions away from the sun, streaming out behind Mercury, forming this huge long tail. It can stretch for millions of miles.
Millions of miles.
Yeah.
From tiny Mercury.
Believe it or not, yes. It was something we really only discovered properly in the space age. But what's even cooler, really dedicated amateur astronomers with specialized filters have actually managed to image this sodium tail from Earth.
No way. Amateurs can photograph a planet's tail.
Yep. It's incredibly faint, takes skill and the right equipment, but it's possible. It just shows you, doesn't it? Even this tiny, seemingly quiet planet right next door has these amazing dynamic features.
That is truly astounding. A comet tail on a planet. So there you have it. This July really is a special chance for all of us, Skywatchers, to connect with the cosmos a bit. And especially, yeah, to finally catch a good glimpse of Mercury. We really hope you'll get out there maybe this weekend, maybe later in the month. Look west after sunset. Mercury's leading the show there.
Absolutely. And when you do spot it, maybe take a second. Think about how this seemingly small, bashful planet, hiding in the sun's glare most of the time, can still show us something as wild and unexpected as a giant sodium tail. It's just a fantastic reminder, isn't it? That even our closest neighbors in the solar system, planets we've known about for millennia, still hold these incredible mysteries. Makes you wonder what other hidden surprises are still out there, right in our own cosmic backyard, just waiting for us to find them.
All right, imagine it's the 4th of July. Smell of barbecue in the air, waiting for the fireworks, and then bam, big colors lighting up the sky.